So the next one is this metric template. Mine might look just a little bit different. I'll turn this on. Collapse my resources. Yeah, for this one, um, is for our metric A4 size template. So I did attach some resources here. We're going to create our mechanical template on this. This video is definitely for our mechanical template. So we'll need to do a few things like import some of the layers and line types found, which can be pretty fast if we know how to do that. And then we're going to make sure we set up the PDF so that it can do an A4 size 210 by 297 and an A3 size 297 by 420. So it's similar to our inch one. You know, we worked with that A size sheet for a while. Then we included a B size sheet, and now our template has both. And it's going to be the same way with this one. We'll just do them both at the same time and then upload our files. I think we can submit one DWT file and two PDF files of each. We could do them as a batch plot, and if you do that, that's fine. I haven't showed how to do that, and I will on an assignment. But they can be combined into one PDF that shows both layouts, or you can do them separately as two different PDFs. That's fine. Kind of how we've been doing our PDFs is what you can do them separately here, even though they both exist in one drawing file. But I'll upload a video for this once I'm done creating it. And then we've got the different dimensions here. Do I have two different of the same? Let me click on these references and just see. I think this is the one I might need. What is, oh, these are just the dimensions of those ones. So it's kind of what shows up right here. So there's A4 size dimensioning. Further down, there's A3 size dimensioning. So those are on a PDF. Essentially, it's the same as we've been creating. We're going to be on a metric template, so the grid spacing will be in millimeters, and so I do have to convert. I'm looking for a half-inch border around it as well, but I'm going to convert that to millimeters. So when we get to that point, we'll do that. So that's why I have two different dimensions there, and then I've got the line weights document, which if we're recreating layers from scratch, we might need to do this, but I think we can just import the ones from another drawing. And then this one was a reference that I built just before this week, just so you can, if you don't know what sizes those are, I know in the assignment descriptions it says what sizes are, but if I zoom this out a little bit, this is a sheet that just shows really ASME has adopted some of the existing sizes of sheets. So even though these are called ANSI AB, it's mostly the ASME in their code books already kind of adopted some initial sheet sizes. So they consider them ASME as well, these ANSI sheet sizes. So I think, yeah, I think it might be in our format. They call it ANSI. I don't know if they call it ASME, but the ASME code books adopted these sheet sizes. So that's pretty common. A code book might, instead of redefining the codes for everything, they might choose to adopt an existing classification structure. They do this with materials. Um, and so uh, anyway, some ruling bodies can adopt other ruling bodies and establish them as part of their code. Just say that we're following this when we're in this, when we're using. Yeah, so that anyway, that's what kind of happens here is that maybe ASME didn't establish these standards, but they've adopted these standards. So they're ANSI A, B, and C and D, which we shorthand just say A size, B size. And then, of course, on the metric side of things, A0s through A7s, which with us kind of mostly functioning in A4, A3 size world. And A3 being closest to an ANSI 11 by 17, and A4 being closest to ANSI 11 or A 8.5 by 11. So these two sheet sizes are very similar to these, but they are in metric. And we will build our template to match these dimensions, not anything here. So that's just a resource. Good quick resource. So back in on this assignment. Let's create these. So I'm going to go over to CAD. Biggest thing we got to do is I'm just going to close any existing stuff that I have. That was an inch template. I'm just going to close it out. We're going to create a new one for this. So I'm just going to browse templates. You may not have what I have access to. So if I browse templates, it takes me to the CAD folder of templates. These aren't mine. These are CAD's default folders. So we use this one to create our inch. We're going to use this one to create our metric template, ISO at the end. ACAD ISO. ISO is just a indicator that I might be talking about an international standard or metric standard. So I'm going to create this. These are DWT files I'm looking for. If you can't find those, it might be that you're not looking for a DWT file. You're driving for a DWG, but I've got it. So open it. This is its default unformatted. It comes similar to the inch one when we created it for the first time. We have our model space. There's our origin point. It has two layouts that are unformatted. They look like this. In fact, when those populated, the only layer that was available for them to create anything was layer 0. So these viewports currently exist on layer 0 because that's all that's available. So I think first thing I'll do is bring in my layers. And so there's a quick way to do that. And there's multiple quick ways. I'll show you one. So on the View tab, where I get my properties palette that I'm using all the time, I also over here will use this Design Center. So it looks like you could type in AD Center. I think you can type in Design Center actually. So if you remember, that's what it's called. But this is the icon on the ribbon menu for Design Center. It's like a file browser, like this. Um, I look at it over here and say, well, it opens up maybe the last thing I had open on it. So yours may or may not be opening on your C drive or your other drives that you have. Um, I'm going to look in. What it's doing is I'm kind of like searching for stuff that I've already created here and being able to pull it and drag it in. And I can do a lot of different things here, but what I want in this case is to add layers to this drawing that has none, and I've already created them in another drawing. So I'm going to find a drawing that has these layers that are correct. It's not worth bringing in something that needs fixed, but might be correct the source and then come back and pull it in. But mine live in my general area, and these are all my templates that I have in my general area. And I'm looking for the one that we've been using this year. So I call it 2025. When I have here, I have access to some of the parameters that are in that that I can drag and drop into my current file. So I'm looking for layers. So if I pick layers, I get a view of all my layers that are in there from 0 to XREF. I already have, I don't think it, yeah, I already have a 0 layer, so I might just uh, bring all these in. You can bring them individually. I just like click on one, hold down shift, go to the end. That's like a shift select. It'll select everything in between from beginning to end if I do that. If you want to bring them in individually or a group of them, maybe there's a few specific layers you might want. You can just hold down control, right? And I could choose these specifically. But in this case, I want them all. So I'm bringing in all except for 0. And I think even if I did bring in 0, I don't think I'll get an error. What you do is get them all selected and then just drag and drop them right there. I can drop them into kind of my model browser area. I'm in the layout tab, but I can drop them here. Anywhere really, I'm just going to drop them. And then if I check this, they should show up here. So these brought in all my layers that I created. You'll just find CAD. The nature of CAD is once you create it, you just reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. As long as it's been created correctly, right? So this is good. I can close my design center, but later I might come back and go back to my template and update some. We actually have there's some text styles that exist in here, but they wouldn't match what I need here anyway. They're an inch templates, and I'm in metric, so maybe there's some limited stuff I can bring in, but the layers aren't affected by uh, the difference in the templates between inch and metric here. They'll work on both. So now I have a layer I can push these viewports to. So push that to the viewport layer. That's on layout 2. On layout 1, I kind of work both of these like at the same time, maybe. Here's layout 1, so I'm going to push that to a viewport. I've got this dotted line. It's kind of an unformatted sheet. So let's format this one for an A4 size. So I'll go ahead and do a page setup. I have no preloaded stuff. I can bring in stuff to here too. I can import it from another drawing potentially, but I haven't created anything yet. So I'm just going to say new for layout 1, new. I'm going to give it a name. We're going to do ASME A4. A4 is the smaller one. So I'll say, yeah, I can just start with whatever. They're blank anyway, so nothing's programmed yet, but I'm going to do drawing to PDF. This is A size, so it's ISO A, but I'm going to look ISO full bleed A4 style. So right here, work for me. Full bleed A4. Could do the other layout. This is all the same. I need to say color PDF for me. Yeah, nothing else changing here. I'm gonna say okay. Now I've named this one. I'm gonna set this now by just set current, choosing it, set current. That has now formatted my paper. So I'm gonna say close. And maybe this layout is gonna have a new name of 4. I can double check that the way I would with a rectangle that matches the size of paper. I'm in one-to-one kind of size here. So this is 297 by 210. That sounds right. I'll move this over my sheet and see if it fits. Looks pretty close. So I'm happy with that formatting. It's got a viewport I can move. Yeah, remind me to, I'll come back to this when I build my border, but I'm gonna go build my border in model space. Same way I've built them all. So um, maybe I like to represent paper space here real quick. 297 by 210. These are in millimeters. Yeah. So I was kind of zoomed. Move this. Move this a little closer to the origin. Okay. I did show like it's helpful. Showed this in class, but I've just forgot that it's helpful to double check yourself before you get too far here. That the units are in millimeters. So I type in UN for units. Sorry, I did undo. Units, decimal. This is how I might increase the decimal precision of my angular. I'll keep it at 0 here. We'll probably up this when we go to use it measurement wise, potentially, but here's millimeters. Okay. The other thing I showed is on the grid, on the status bar, the grid snap settings. I don't usually do grid snaps, but that's where I find the drop down for snap settings. This shows that the X spacing is 10 millimeters, Y spacing is 10 millimeters, and there's a major line every 5 of those. So these I can change the grid spacing here, but I'm going to cancel this, and that just means every 5 I zoom way in here. This is like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50 millimeters across. So everyone is 50 millimeters, 50, 100, 250. This is 297. So that makes sense. Even though it's not snapped to any grid per se, but let's offset this. I jump over to here, offset this half-inch offset, but that is 12.7 millimeters. So I type in millimeters here, and this is on the border layer. I did show, if you don't know, jump out to a browser and type in inches to millimeter. It comes right up because I use it. Here's a conversion that's ready. I needed to do a half-inch border, so that's 12.7 millimeters. I think on my dimension sheet I give that to you. But, so I'm going to do a line that's up that far too. 12.7, enter, crossed. I probably need to set my point style in here too. It'll just be by default, be the small one. So I'll pick that one and say okay. And maybe I'll put these on the paper layer when I divide that by 5. And just draw a couple. I'll divide this up the same way. 2/5 of it that way, 1/5 of it so that way. Repeat my line command. Looks pretty good. Erase these. Erase this. Let's add some text to this. I'm going to go do that through here, through the A4 size viewport. Um, I can click out here and resize this maybe a little bit. Jump back in here and maybe I'll click this out to a 1-to-1. Then I might get ready to have my origin point down there. I might lock it. I'm going to jump in here though. Zoom to my window. There it is. It's not showing up in my viewport because my viewport's kind of looking right here, but I'm just above it. And that's okay. I'm just going to add my text boxes through the viewport with my blue border. Assignments. What this one is, I don't know what we're calling it. Um, I don't know what we're calling it. This is an A4 metric template. Works for me, something. I do a copy of that text box from there to there. Oh, this name. And one more. Oh, I know what I got. I didn't format the one thing. It just kind of caught my attention. Maybe I'm a little bit off. I didn't format the text style here. Let me just finish doing the text box, and we can change those. We can change those properties once I built it. So this would be the end of the world. Date, right, is 9/15/2025. Which I might. What I've got going on here is that this text style is this. It's just like some default text size and type, and maybe I need to reformat this. So what I'm going to do is create a text type, and then I can convert these to it. Just like you'd push it to another layer, I can push particular text to a different type relatively quick, as long as I have it. So where I load those is on the Annotate tab, and the first one is just formatting your text. So I really only have two options that are the default ones. So Manage Text Styles is how I get to those. And this is also a quick access to that managed text style. So annotative always for me. Arial, just plain old Arial is fine here. I need the paper height to be something that you probably wouldn't know unless we've come across it in our reading it, but it's 3 millimeters. So I might have to say 3.0. So these are in millimeters. Maybe I have to hit enter on that. It defaulted to 4 decimal places, but I'm keeping the width factor at 1. But this is how I would change for a narrower type of text width. And I'll just keep it at 1. So if it's 3 high, it's 3 wide, kind of a symmetrical text. Um, so I'm going to say I need to give this a new name. I didn't even give this a name yet. So let me say new and call this ASME 3 millimeter or something. ASME 3 millimeter. It's annotative. That needs to be annotative. So it automatically changes. Close this down. And so I want to change this in here. I think I can just double click in here maybe. What I want to do, bring this up and choose which one. ASME 3 millimeter. Yeah, that's just different. That's the actual size. This was too small. It's 2.5 millimeter here. Didn't quite look right. So that's what caught my attention. This one here needs to be choosing that up here in the style box. I could also do match properties here too. Match properties would work. I don't know, let me try it. Match properties, this text style with this one, and that works too. So that's a quick way to do. That is considered a property. It's that text style now. If I double click in here, if I highlight the text, it shows that it's ASME 3. So, and so this is done. While I'm in here, I can just block this. So I'll create a block, and I'll call this one, oh, I don't need to call it that. I can call it A4 title block. That'll work. Let's pick this, the center. Let's pick all these objects. And let's pick them as annotative, allow exploding, say okay. Now I've got my A4 title block there. Jump back over to this, out to the window here. Can't see that I've done anything, but this is a great place to place it in paper space. So click out here and let's insert this block. And then I'll just do a quick alignment. 12.7 by 12.7. This is also metric out here as well. All my inputs will be in millimeters. Move this. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and delete that now. Let me do an explode. And I can modify this. I already uploaded the right, I've already got the right name in here. What I might do is drag this up so it doesn't block that. Maybe I'll drag this in just a little bit. That's fine. Last thing I'll do is on my templates, I like to have these kind of zoomed in to the origin point, but at 1:1 though. So I kind of set these at 1:1 and then find my origin point like that. And then I lock it down. And that will work. Maybe the only thing I also haven't done is I've done all this work without doing a save as first. So when I opened it, it already converted me to a DWG. Make sure I do a save as, and I'm going to change the file type to a DWT. This is a template. And then I'm going to put it where I want it, not where it wants me to. I'm going to put it on my drive as a metric in class or something. This is the second time I've done this one today. So I'll say number 2, save it. Okay. And that's done deal. Let's do it for layout number. First, I'll get rid of this one. I could stretch and scale that, but I think I'm just gonna do it again from scratch. One more time for you here. So unformatted. Let's format first to an A3 style. So let's do a page setup. That's the only thing I have available. This is for layout 2. I'm gonna make a new one. I'm gonna start with ASME A3 is what it's going to be called, but I'll start it with the A4 one that I just made. Okay. Preloads that. Just need to change the paper to A3, which is a little bit larger. That'll work. Layout 1:1. Color, yes. Okay. Choose that one to set this one as current. So it's a much bigger sheet of paper than what it was default shown at. This thing can be moved more to the middle now. It's going to be a 1:1 at some point. Let's go draw that. Maybe I'll lock that down briefly. Let's go draw this. You know, sometimes when I'm just doing my drawing, I'm just in the model without worrying about dimensioning or whatever. So I can jump over here and do the same routine here, which is a little bit different though. This is 420 by 297. I'll offset this by 12.7 is what I also want. Push this to break. Let's draw 12.7 millimeters up across. I'll divide that line. Man first, come on, divide by 5. That's all the drawing I'm going to do from the model. Now I just want to add text. Go back to my layout. Maybe I'll rename my layout since I noticed when I jumped over it wasn't named. ASME3. Look into the viewport and zoom in. That's how I can zoom in without having it be centered in my viewport. I can do some work here. Let's do text. Let's do a text box. Let's make sure I'm on that text. I am. So that text I created where I didn't create it last time, I've got that as my set standard that I'm drawing to. And so that allowed me to Add this text box on the right layer as well. Text layer. Assignment. What is this one? What did I call the last one? Did I call it that? Metric template A3 or something. That's what it is. It's the A3 template. Excellent. Copy that to this base point. Spelled my name wrong. And one more smaller one. It would work if I could also copy this one. I mean, it's a little bit too big. Copy by this base point over. Then when you get in here, you can resize this. Like this is kind of your ruler that you can actually drag this to be the binding width there. So that might work. I don't know if it's any faster or not, but it's 5. No, it's 9/15/2025. Good. Great. Jump back out of the viewport. Not necessarily. Once I get here, I'm going to block it. So I'm done in here. I'm actually looking through into the model space. I'm going to go ahead and do a block. Create this block of, this is a A3 title block. I'm going to pick a point, geometric center, these objects, annotative, allow exploding. Okay. There's my A3, there's my A4. Last one I created right there. So go ahead and jump back out now where I don't have anything and go ahead and place this block. A3, there I have a hold of it. Zoom way in. 12.7 by 12.7. A little alignment. Looks good. I could explode this thing. We got that actually explode. This is modifiable now, like it. Okay. Let's just align this in here. Let's get, well, I think it is aligned. I'm at 1:1. I'm aligned with my grid. I just don't need my drawing back there, so we can jump out and delete that now. Back over to this. Done deal. I think that's it. Got my layers in here, got my 2 sheet sizes. I formatted this one already, right? So if I preview this, there's my B size sheet, or sorry, A3 size sheet. And then cancel that. I could save that as one PDF. And then on the A4 size sheet, I could also, I have this locked down at 1:1. Yes, I do. So I could just take and save this, let's just check its print properties. And it's yep, an A4 size sheet. So I like this. Save 2 PDFs from that. There is a way we can batch plot them so they're both in one PDF. That's okay. We'll do that on an assignment. This is it. That one's done. Turn in that one DWT file with maybe 2 PDFs. Call that one good and catch you on the next one.